Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 o'clock here in New Vienna, Iowa. Welcome to another live stream. It is Wednesday, September 16th, 2020. How are you guys all doing today? Made it just on time. I almost missed it. I've been here for 10 minutes like I normally am. And the normal thing happened where, I'm sitting down, I'm ready, and then I start responding to comments on YouTube or maybe looking up some other stuff. And then I realize, ooh, it's almost time to start the live stream, and then I was almost late, but I made it here on time, and I'm glad so many of you are here too. We've got Bert Legues, Chris Yao saying, what did he say? Buenas tardes to everybody. Awesome. JC is here. Jody Runs saying good day. Awesome. Good to see you again, Jody. Timothy Pettit, and Martha's here as well. Martha with ciao. Everyone's going with something very different, a different salutation today. Awesome. Love that. Kevin Bickerton says hi. Awesome, Kevin. Martha says, or as they say in Mexico sometimes, buenas, without bothering with the TARDIS. I've never heard that before, but I guess it's been a long time since I've been in Mexico. I want to say the last time I was in Mexico would have been about a dozen years ago. Surely I've been there since then. No, I think that's it. It's been a long time. In his Dunbar says, hi Kofuzi and everybody, just an easy 4 miles with Pip after work today. Wednesday's turning in a bit of a recovery run day again. Awesome. I saw the picture on Instagram, and it looks like Pip is just having a good time, enjoying the weather out there. My mom is here coming in from New Jersey. Hi Mom, how are you? Martha says that they have smoky air in Colorado today from the West Coast. That is bizarre. It's just so crazy to me. I mean, it makes sense because the fires are massive. Massive isn't even the right word, but they've been saying that, haven't noticed an air quality difference or anything here in Iowa, but I posted about it today on Instagram. The sunrises and the sunsets have been especially orangey or red lately, and they're saying that it's because of the smoky haze or the haze that the smoke is throwing off. During the middle of the day when I'm looking up, I can't notice it, but when the sun is on the horizon or about to peak, it has been, I want to say, a fiery sunrise, because that's the word that I would normally use, but it's not literally fiery, but it's been pretty spectacular. And it's one of those things that make you feel really small when you think about it, 2,000 miles away, something can be happening. That's very different than here. But anyway. I hope everyone in the West Coast is doing safe. I got another email today from Trial of Miles, the 5K tournament that I'm in. And one bit of relevant news in terms of the fires, and one interesting tidbit of news. One is that so this week was supposed to be you run a virtual 5K, and then you submit your times, and then you get pitted across people in your region, and then the top 25 times in each region move on, advance to the next round. So the Pacific and the Northwest regions, both, they've extended the amount of time that those two regions can run their 5K because the air quality is so bad, so they don't want anyone to get hurt. So that makes a lot of sense. Every other region still needs to run it within the allotted time, but it's just the West Coast, because of everything that's going on, that they're getting that kind of dispensation, I guess. The other news is I was able to look online to see who else is in my region. So far, 2 people have run their 5Ks. First place right now in the Great Plains came in with a time of 15:30. So just ludicrous fast compared to anything that I could throw down. And then the second place so far, only 2 people have put in time so far. It came in at 18:30. So something that is faster than I think I could put out right now, especially with my leg in the condition it's in, but human. And then I counted up all the other entrants, and I think that there's only 25 entrants in the Great Plains. So I might make it out of the Great Plains region in the first round. So very happy to be competing out of Iowa, because if I was just over the border in Illinois or in Chicago, I'd be in something Midwest, Great Midwest, or I don't know what the region is, but it's a different region, and it's a lot more competitive over there. So I think I just need to be able to run a 5K. I'm thinking I might just run it conservative, try to come in instead of really killing myself for it, just run a smart race, run a 5K. I got a new pair of shoes that I'm excited to run in for them too. Although I do kind of want to take the Hyperion Elite for a spin, or maybe the Autozero Pro. I got another one that I'm going to leave as a surprise for you guys. But I was going to do my 5K in one of those. So we'll see how it goes on that. But, that's just the update and trial of miles. JC is asking if anyone has their puppet rods in yet. I guess if you did like Amazon Prime same day shipping or like next day, you could have them by now. The puppet rods being one of the items in yesterday's Amazon is Weird trivia competition that we did yesterday. I don't know. Maybe I need to get some of those because we've got. I mean, you know what I should do is I should try to attach them to some of the creepy dolls that we have around here. That would freak. Okay, I think I'm gonna do that. But here's the thing: if I now go and buy those, Amazon's gonna totally be like, "See, you guys thought we were so weird, but we fed you the ad for the puppet rods, like the rods that like puppeteers use to control a puppet's hands, and then Mike bought them, so we got it." Yeah. I don't know. Chris Yao says there is an NOAA image that showed that Florida was the only state that did not technically have smoke lingering over it. That is crazy. And also proof that Florida always has got to be able to do its own thing. It's just a weird state. Leona Wong says air in the Bay Area is finally better. I think we're on a 29th day of spare the air. Pretty crazy. That is insane. Giuseppe Angelucci says Hendrix in the air. Yeah, purple haze. Chris Dyke says I'm approaching 7 days of no running. Air quality improving, so I'm hoping back at it next week. Ooh, that's a long time, but I'm glad you're playing it safe. Let's see. Timothy Pettit says, is there supposed to be rain on the West Coast soon, right? Oh, I hope so. I feel like they could really use it for sure. Yeah, but I don't know. Corey Allen says, hey, friends, it's been a few weeks since I joined the live stream. Hope all is well with your running. Awesome. Good to see you again, Corey. Roadrunner Reviews is here. Says hello. Awesome. Roadrunner Reviews did a video on the... Which shoe was it that you did a review on? Was it you ran over a bridge and jumped through some water? That's the thing that I pulled out from that video. I forget which shoe it was, but it was a very good splash. So I appreciated that. Thanks for doing that. I've been running through some of the muddy puddles here in the trails, but like a lot of times when you're not near a body of water, running through a puddle can be kind of iffy from like a bacterial infection kind of perspective. So I've been avoiding a lot of the puddles around here, especially since there's a lot of wild animals in the area. The other day on my bike ride, was it a 15-mile bike ride? I forget how long it was, but I had like a double rainbow moment because I was riding through, and all of a sudden I saw 3 bald eagles at the same time, and I was like, "Whoa, what does it mean?" And then I looked and I was like, "Oh, there's a dead raccoon. They were all eating it." I'm like, I didn't realize bald eagles were scavengers, but I suppose like a freshly dead raccoon is probably pretty tasty for a bald eagle. But it was pretty amazing to see them fly. It was less amazing I was thinking at first like, that's our national bird, so majestic. And I was like, eating an animal that scavenges human garbage. It seemed less majestic at the moment. But it was kind of cool. But there's just wildlife everywhere around here. Ilya Kim says, running at Moscow Marathon. He's doing the 10K distance this Sunday. So excited for the biggest start of the year. Wow, cool. I've been seeing, I don't know if I saw it in the news or it was something that YouTube fed me, but like, I think it was just something YouTube fed me. I was watching Daily Show or something. And talking about how like in the US, because we refuse to like do anything properly, we're just kind of stuck in this limbo of like, open things up. And the rest of the world's like, oh yeah, we're going to have races and stuff now. We're going to have restaurants and school and all that. Although I suppose in the UK, you guys are back to rule of 6. So it's not everyone that's like moving on without the US. All right. Andrea says, are you planning on trying the new Tempo Next Percent, or is everyone else's negative review putting it off for you? I wasn't planning on reviewing it. And then I saw a lot of negative reviews, and now I'm definitely not going to try it. Although I'm thinking, I might go back for the Alpha Fly if there's like a restock and I can get. I don't know if they're easy to get or not. might get them just because I think I'd like to do like a racing shoe roundup, and I feel like it would be incomplete to really put a video out like that without the Alphafly. So, yeah. So we'll see. I might have an Alphafly review, but at some point before the end of the year. Ilya Kim says for his 10K, masks are obligatory until the second start gun shots. Okay, that's good. Jeff Ellie says, I can't believe the Tempo Next Percent is $200. I didn't know it was $200. That's expensive for I mean, I know a lot of people might race in it, but that's interesting. Jeff Elliott says it doesn't make any sense to him. It doesn't make sense to me either, especially when, Seth's like dissection of the nylon plate, it being like super floppy. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yes, Timothy Pett says Garmin has a new Forerunner 745. I saw that today. I started looking at it. I didn't get too far into it. I'm still thinking I might try the 645 Music because I want to try being able to run without a phone. And I don't. If the 745 has music, I might review that one first. But otherwise, I might try the 645 Music. So I think that might be my next watch after looking at the Coros. I was thinking that I was going to keep wearing this Coros until I could do a track session and try out that track feature. But I just don't want to go to a track around here because all the tracks are associated with high schools, and all the high schools around here are still having in-person class. Because for some reason Iowans are just pretending that it's a matter that COVID is a matter of fortitude or resilience, and if you just will it to not be there, it won't be there. And so I'm not going anywhere near a school, so I don't know that I'll be able to test the track feature of the Coros. But I've tested out just about everything else that I want to test, so I think I'm about ready to put that together. And then I'll order another watch. Get another one. Let's see. Mark Shankoko said the 745 has music. Okay, so I'll have to do that one. I won't have to, but I'll look at that one. Yeah. Jeff Elliott says check out the first beat features on the 745 if you haven't already tried one of the newer /_45 watches. I've tried the 45, and it's a pretty good intro watch, but it just doesn't quite have enough of what I need. And so I was thinking looking at the 245 music or the 645 music, but if they're on 745, I'll give it a shot. J. Mike Grimmy says Polar all day. I feel you, because I do like the Polar watches the most, because I just feel like it has the whole ecosystem where it just collects all the data that I want, but also let me look at all the data in the ways that I want to chop it up or slice it up. Maybe I want to work at 7 days, 10 days, 30 days, the last 300 miles kind of thing. So it's just nice. Within a run, I can look at smaller portions too. And I suppose there's lots of other ways to do that, getting it from other exporting your data to other things, but just the way that Polar does it, it's I go for the features, I stay for the data. It's kind of like what it says, but I do I do enjoy testing out all the other watches that are out there. Jody Run says, I do wonder if the U.S. is so far gone in regards to COVID that they should just protect the elderly and sick and let it go until herd immunity occurs. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what everyone is doing here. I think that's the rationale. Ultimately, I think what everyone wants to do is just I just want to keep doing what I want to do. I just, a lot of it is just I know there's a lot of analogs that people say for when in the 70s, the United States trying to nationally tried to implement seatbelt laws. A lot of the exact same freedom and liberty arguments were made, and then personal responsibility arguments were made. But every time I hear someone tell me about why COVID measures are unnecessary or optional or whatever, I just feel it's these are all just the tip. Oh, it's just the tip kind of arguments. And I'm just this is so ridiculous. And the herd immunity thing is I don't think people realize how many people need to be seriously sick, or have antibodies for herd immunity to be even like remotely applicable. Because think about how many people get the flu every year, and we don't have herd immunity, like the flu shot every year. We don't have herd immunity for the flu. I'm not a virologist. Immunology was one of my favorite courses in college, but I'm by no means an immunologist or a virologist. But I think when people are like, it's like a very like, the other way I think about it is all the arguments about like why, like, oh, we should just get herd immunity, or you should hurry up and get sick and get it over with so you have the antibodies. It's all like let them eat cake kind of arguments. It just blows my mind. Martha says it's so embarrassing. Our passports aren't welcome practically anywhere now, and for good reason. I agree. I agree with that. They shouldn't be allowed anywhere. I think that like at this point, what people are doing is like, it's the strategy doesn't seem to be. I mean, to the extent that I think that there is an elucidatable strategy, I don't think that there is the main thing. But like what I'm trying to extrapolate in terms of rationale, where's people's like lines are, is it seems like people are not thinking about like, all right, we need to have as few people get this as possible. The rationale in the United States seems to be, as long as we have enough hospital beds, we're okay with people getting sick. And if once you're in the hospital, if you've got a bed and a ventilator and you still die anyway, that's on you. We did our best. So we got to keep on living. Sorry. I feel like that's like the United States response. And so, rather than like preventing people from getting the disease in the first place, the only thing that we ever did was build more capacity for beds and ventilators. And once we had enough beds, then people were like, well, whatever, go live your best life kind of thing. I hate that phrase, by the way. Anyway, I'm trying not to get too negative here, but I'm getting pretty fired up. But yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the Garmins, because that's a little, not nearly as morbid. Corey Allen says, everyone here has big budget for watches. I had trouble just spending $299 on the Garmin 245 this week. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they are getting very expensive. And I still think that the hardest thing, and the thing to talk about too, is because, and Adrian Viren says, thoughts on the new Apple Watch Series 6 announced yesterday. I think the hard thing about all these watches is that they're being released in a world where Apple Watch exists. And so Apple Watch 6 is not that compelling to me. They say that it has 18-hour battery life, which I'm just like, oh, if it's going to look that ugly, why can't it at least have a big battery in it? I don't understand. And they're like, yeah, but it charges from 0 to 80% in an hour. I just don't care. It's super gross. But what is very interesting to me, as long as you're going to have like super crappy battery life anyway, is that they sell the Apple Watch 3 still, like new Apple Watch 3s for $199, and it has GPS in it. And they sell they now have the Apple Watch SE, which is like a kind of an Apple Watch 4.5 is my understanding of it in terms of feature set, for $299. So I feel like it's a natural, like it's going to pull down the price. It should pull down the price for all these other watches that exist out there that are running watches. So, I mean, I think that there's nothing in it that in the Apple Watch 6 that I'm not in a hurry to get one. I didn't order one. I don't even know when the order dates are. But the Apple Watch SE and the Apple Watch 3 are really interesting because of that family feature. And so what makes that interesting to me, not right now because my kids don't go anywhere. They're in this house. We're like not quarantined, but we're kind of staying alone. We're going out to like parks and stuff, but they're always with me. What makes it interesting for me is that like at $199, that's what the cost of like those kitty trackers cost. And then if I could like text my daughter and stuff, using that family subscription thing, everywhere she goes that I would need to text her, there's Wi-Fi. I don't know if there's Wi-Fi at our school. There is Wi-Fi at our school, but whether the kids can get on it, I'm not sure. It seems like they shouldn't allow that. I don't know. But so that's interesting to me. Other than that, I'm not that interested in all the other stuff because it just didn't move the ball. It still has compass. It still has altimeter. It still has all like the same other stuff. There wasn't anything, unless I missed it. that seem to be particularly compelling from a running perspective. I mean, it's brighter, it's easier to see. That's good. I like that. And then $299. If the Garmin 245 is $299, I mean, it seems like, and we're talking like entry level for Garmin. Not entry level. It's like middle range offering for Garmin. It's a solid watch. I feel like the Garmin 245 makes the 645 a pretty hard sell, in my opinion. I don't know as much about the 745 yet. So that's kind of my thoughts on like the Garmin lineup. All the time you gotta like think of these like in context of, you know, Apple Watch. Matt852 says, I got the 645 from Amazon for $225 and a lot cheaper than a 745 for $499. Yeah, I was looking at a 645 Music because I think the MSRP on that one is like $350, I want to say. But I was gonna, because it's been out for a little while, I was gonna get a refurbished one on Amazon. It was been about like $240 or something is the price that I saw. So 645 Garmin for $225. That's a great price. Yeah. Corey Allen says, if the Polar watches were prettier and felt better on the wrist, I would never leave. The Garmin watches are the right size at 43 millimeters and a little bezel. I like a big, bulky watch. I've had little ones. I've had Polar ones that are super small. I've had the Garmin 45, which is like also super small. I've had the Vivo Active 3 from Garmin. I've had the Apple Watch. You know, I've run in a whole bunch of small watches and big watches. The Polar watches are the biggest, heaviest watches I've ever run in. The Grit is a little bit lighter, I think, than the Vantage V, but they're big, heavy watches. But I kind of like it. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. I like to think of it as like I'm just carrying a lot of battery, which I don't mind. So I just I kind of like that. Daniel M says people who solely use Apple Watches for running deserve to be called joggers. And winky face emoji. Yeah, I think that's okay. But I also think that it's a really legit watch, because then if you pair it with the right app, like Workout Doors and iSmooth Run 26.2, those are the two that I would use. Those are really solid watches, especially if you do a lot of like track workouts or complicated workouts, like for your Tempo Tuesday or Track Tuesday or Track Thursdays. You know, if you have a workout, maybe you got a ladder workout where you have multiple distances at different paces and different rest periods. It's super easy to load those up on your phone and then send it to the watch, and it works great. I really like that. I think that Garmin and Polar and Coros, they all need to catch up to that. The Coros one, to preview what my ultimate review will be, like the last big feature I reviewed, did actually a really good job. I think it does the best of like the watch brands in terms of being able to load up a workout. So I thought that was pretty good. But Polar and Garmin make it really hard. Super annoying. Sky Iwalk says Sunto. I like Sunto watches a lot. I think that they're a little bit on the expensive side. They don't seem to like go on sale as much, and I don't see them as much on Amazon at like sale prices. But the problem I had with the Sunto 5, which was the only Sunto I've ever run with, is I couldn't see it. It never got bright enough. And I don't know if I'm just getting old or what, but I just need more brightness to it. And so that was my big problem with that. Stevie76 says, give watches to my kids to track them. I mean, that's what I want to do. I mean, I'd just like to be able to have a beacon. You know, what I think would be funny is like if I could also embarrass my daughter when she's at her activities, you know, while I'm also tracking her. So if she's at rock climbing and she's like trying to climb a wall, and if there's like, if they had like the Nortel thing, like the chirp, and I can make on her, like if I gave her like an Apple Watch SE or an Apple Watch 3 and have it just like me being like, hey, are you still at climbing? You still at climbing? Am I picking you up or is mom picking you up? Like if that could like come out regardless of her ability to control it, that'd be hilarious. I don't think that that's a real feature, but I think I would like that. Like if there was like an annoying dad feature that you could turn on and off in your family control of the watches, that'd be great. That's the first thing that I thought of when I saw that family feature announced. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff Elliott says, I have the 245 from Garmin and it's great for me. It was an upgrade from the Vivo Active 3 Music and hated the touchscreen and didn't use the music. You see, I had the regular Vivo Active 3 and I liked it except for I didn't like having only one button and I never used the touchscreen. I never use a touchscreen on any of my watches. So like, yeah, I just think it's too small of an interface to be putting my finger on that. You know. CV76 says, what about Apple Watch's blood oxygen sensor? I think that it's a pretty cool feature to have in there, but it's like a solution to a problem I don't have. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a running need for it. Maybe if I like sent one to my mom and my dad and I could be like checking in on them, but like I'm not a medical professional. And so like I know that if they're like under like 95 that I should be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Are you guys all right? I might call them, but I don't know. It specifically states that it's not for like medical grade use. So I mean, the only thing I could think of would be it'd be another way of like letting you know when your body's not doing well. So let's say like your heart. I mean, if your heart rate is elevated, I mean, I guess it could help you self-diagnose pneumonia. So let's say your resting heart rate is high, your respiration rate is high, and your SpO2 is low, then you're like, oh, something's going on in my lungs. I'm not breathing really well. But don't you already know that from the fact that you're like basically shallow breathing and wheezing a little bit? I'm not sure like why it's useful. My wife, like I said yesterday, my wife bought a couple of those because she said that like a quick dip in like a quick sudden like and persistent dip in SpO2 is or like your blood oxygen is like a could be an early symptom of COVID. And I'm like, okay, sure, let's get them. They weren't that expensive. But at that point, like, why not just buy one of those too? I suppose then it's like, then you don't have to have it around and it's taking measurements from you like all throughout the day periodically. So I guess there's benefits to it, just like there's benefits to like the EKG feature. But I don't know. I'm kind of lost. It doesn't move the needle for me in terms of like, ooh, I have the Apple Watch 4 and I'm like, I didn't find anything in the Apple Watch 5 that made me super excited. And there's not really a lot in the Apple Watch 6 that makes me super excited. If they were like, we made the screen bigger, it's got the blood oxygen sensor, it's got a bigger screen, and it's got 2-day battery life, I'd buy one right away. And I'd be like, I'm going to start testing that as soon as it comes in. Because it is a pretty screen, and I love their watch faces. I wish other watch companies could have that level of customizable data, like to make it in a way that I want. Like every, like Coros, Polar, all the watch faces looks like someone drew a watch face with like an 8-bit like app, like an 8-bit art app. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good. It doesn't look pretty. I don't think any of them look pretty. Even the ones that have the different screens, like the Polar Unite, the Polar Ignite, and there's a Garmin with like a really pretty screen. It still just looks like a digital screen drawn, you know? But the Apple Watch, they're like inviting, you know? They invite you, it makes you want to look at it. And so that's what they're doing right. And it's a watch, so it's a really important thing to get right. But I don't think I'll be getting an Apple Watch 6. Let's see. Jeff Elliott says, my Garmin 245 has SpO2. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Corey Allen says, I love Duke Tran and Kofuzi podcast back to back on the Extra Milers podcast. Awesome. Great map advice and fun to listen. Well, thanks, Corey. That's awesome. Thanks for listening. I listened to that Duke Tran one too. That was a really good one. I remember that one. What's funny is that when I listen to certain podcasts, some of them I have a distinct place memory, because then you listen to them, but you also kind of like remember where you were when you're hearing them. And I was shooting a lot of B-roll in the basement when I was, so I just like, it gives me like a visual memory of the basement, in a good way when I think about that one. Yeah. Jeff, he says it for the blood oxygen sensor on his 245. He says he turned it off because it uses too much battery. That's funny. Andor Kish said, the Samsung Active Sport wasn't bad years ago. It had potential. I think that they're on version 3 now, and I keep wanting to get one because I would like to try getting like I haven't had a Samsung phone in years, and I'd like to get another one. I'd like to get a Galaxy. and then run it with a Samsung watch. But I just don't think that, like, I mean, I haven't looked too deep into it, but if there is like an equivalent watch to like Work Outdoors or iSmooth Run 26.2, where like someone has made an app that shows you all the data that you want, and it could connect to like my Stride Foot Pod, my heart rate monitor. I don't think it would have a problem connected to my heart rate monitor, but from when I see people review those watches, they only review like, even like when athletes review it, it's like they're only reviewing like the native like tracking apps. And so like I haven't seen like here's the best Android run tracking app, And so like that tells me that there maybe isn't one. And that's what makes the Apple Watch usable, not the fact that it's a great watch and it has a great like native run tracking app. The native run tracking app leaves much to be desired, but there's other ones that you can download. I don't know that, maybe someone can tell me, but I don't know that there's an equivalent one to that I could use on the Samsung like watch, because it's round, which I like. It's pretty. The screen looks nice, and there's lots of buttons. So like, all right, lots of things going for it, enough to pique my interest. But then I'm like, but what am I going to use to record the activity? And that's where it starts to lose me. All right. Scott says, can you help me understand this workout? Include 4 to 5 times 2,000 meters at tempo interval pace, 400 meter recovery jog between each repetition, include a warm up and cool down. So what that tells me is like I would jog for about 10 minutes, low heart rate, super easy and conversational. Then 4 or 5 times 2Ks. So 2K repeats at tempo interval pace. Tempo interval pace is going to be somewhere between your half marathon race pace and your 10K race pace. Like if you were to race those today. Although I would maybe check with your coach if they mean maybe your goal half marathon and 10K race pace. So that's kind of where I would put that interval. If you're looking for like a specific like number. And then after you do each 2K interval, then you jog for a quarter mile or 400 meters. And then once you get to the end of that 400 meters, then you're doing another 2K repeat at that tempo interval. That's a tough workout. That seems like a tough workout. Although it's a pretty long recovery. So I would say that the important thing to focus on in that one is to make sure you're running at that tempo interval pace and not faster, and really nailing it. Not going too fast, not going too slow, but nailing it, because they're working on building your aerobic threshold on that one. So it's a tough workout, but it should be pretty fun. At least that's how I read it. All right. Andrew Kish says, put the podcast on your Garmin. Can you do that? I'd like that. Steve Mastroianni. Kofuzi, yes or no to MAF training? Pick one. Yes. Let's see. Someone asked something about the O2 sensor, and I was about to read it, and then it went. Frank LaHoulier says, would the O2 sensor tell you something if you're doing high altitude or vert workouts? I suppose it would. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like how, like that would be like one of the extreme areas, but then, I mean, I'm not sure how it gives you that much different data. Maybe it could tell you how quickly you're acclimating to altitude, or maybe if you're hiking or climbing really high, it can tell you when your body is starting to adapt to prolonged altitude exposure. That makes sense. I'm not sure that that's true, but I could see that being the case. That makes sense to me. Yeah, that's a good point. Stevie76 says Peloton stock dipped, not dropped, but he says dipped after the Apple Fitness Plus announcement. Yeah, you know what? I don't know if it was just me, but when they were going over like the Apple Fitness Plus announcement, and then like the one subscription where you get like Apple TV and Apple News and Apple Fitness and all the other stuff together, it felt very dystopian to me. Like the way that it was shot, and like, I don't know, it just seemed really like, it seemed super creepy to me. It just seemed like, okay, this company now is offering, it's just way too big. It's offering way too much, and it controls and knows too much. It felt a lot to me like kind of like the Buy More in Wall-E, which is probably my favorite Disney movie. The more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. But like, it just reminds me of that. Or in kind of an analogous way, it reminds me of in Demolition Man when they're talking about how Taco Bell, every restaurant is a Taco Bell after the great fast food wars. Like, I just feel like after the fitness wars in the 2020s, Apple became the only fitness company. You know, like it was off-putting in that way. I mean, maybe it's because I don't like go to like group fitness classes, or I'm not that interested in those kinds of workouts. I just like to go running. So it's not like I'm not the target demographic, but it just really like rubbed me the wrong way. It was kind of spooky. Sean Marshall says, hello, what'd I miss? Martha's like, 90% wash talk. That's about right for today. Yeah. I hope that's okay with you guys. If you guys want to change the subject, I'm open. I'll scroll down to the bottom. Omar Salgado says, we'll do one more watch one. Apple Watch 5 with iSmooth Run and chest heart rate monitor has worked great for me for the past 6 months. Looking to upgrade my Wahoo chest strap to Polar. Wahoo goes in and out in extreme sweat or rain. Oh, that's interesting. I guess I haven't had extreme rain. I've had extreme sweat, and I haven't had any problems with either one personally. It looks like, I think Wahoo updated the ticker, and because mine is like white and blue, and the new ones I think now are like gray. And I don't know if they made them any smaller. That's the only thing. I mean, it's cheaper than the Polar H9, but it's bigger. My favorite one, in terms of size, is the Sunto. It's small. It's just like basic, not that much wider than the strap, and it's just like a little circle. So I like that one too. I didn't bring it with me though, but that's a good one as well. I just don't want them to be that big. All right. Timothy Pettit says, what's the best winter running gear? My favorite brand, I would say, I mean, in terms of what gear to have, that's one thing. But like my favorite brand of gear, if I were to pick one, is definitely Craft. They started out as a company making clothes for like cross-country skiing. So like outdoor extended periods in really, really cold weather and being active. And so from that pedigree, they started making lots of cycling clothes and running clothes. And their winter running stuff is some of my favorite. Super warm, super comfortable, not cheap, but definitely worth it. All right, Jeff Elliott's out of here. He's got to go pick up his kid. See you later, Jeff. Good to see you. Jeff Elliott says, Demolition Man. In the European video release, it was all Pizza Hut instead of Taco Bell because they didn't have Taco Bell. What? That is amazing. I had no idea. Wow. So then, because I thought that like when they went to the fancy restaurant, they went outside and there was like a Taco Bell logo like outside. There wasn't? Oh. I'm gonna have to research that and try to find some images of that if that's fascinating. I love the movie Demolition Man. It's terrible, but I still love it anyway. Dennis Leary's in it. I think that's really just funny. But yeah. Martha says, Apple being the only fitness company is scary considering where they're all made. Yeah, I think it could be a real problem. Yeah. Corey Allen says, during the Apple Watch keynote, the commercial with the British lady voice got so obnoxious it made me happy to not use Apple Watch. Support the true running watches. Yeah. I didn't like that commercial. I felt like it made for a really great commercial for Apple Watch 5, but I don't feel like it made a good commercial for Apple Watch 6. You know what I mean? Like I got from that commercial, if we're gonna like analyze the ad, it made like I I think they were going for like the future is here and you can buy it today. I think that's what they were going for. But the impression I got from it is like the future's been here, you know, because everyone already had the watch. People weren't like, oh, you got a watch that has that already? I'll buy it. You know what I mean? Everyone was like, I already got it, dude. But if they already had it, but the watch only came out today, you know, I don't know. It wasn't bad. I just thought it didn't get me excited for the product. Sean Marshall is okay with the watch talk for today. He's honestly just like my Fitbit and always thinking about where to go next. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen with Fitbit. I know they got purchased by Google or Alphabet, right? And I keep thinking that like I want to review a Fitbit watch, but the fact that you can't connect any sensors to it, not even a heart rate monitor. Like Fitbit, make a Fitbit heart rate monitor. Fine, I'll buy that one too. And keep, if you want to keep your ecosystem closed, fine. But like, I'm not going to run with it if I can't pair a heart rate monitor to it. And then, because they have some nicer watches out there, and I think they have a very distinct user base that I think that they could potentially tap into and really expand in like the smartwatch or activity watch market. Because I just feel like the people that are buying like the regular Fitbits, are they buying, like, I don't know who's buying, like, my mother-in-law is. My mother-in-law has the Fitbit. I forget which Versa she has. But it's like they're trying to get into the fitness space, but also like limiting themselves from the things that make them potentially like really powerful in the fitness space. And like, I'd like to have a Fitbit because all my relatives are tracking their steps and competing with each other every week, still on the Fitbit, and that's a pretty cool function. And I would like to be able to participate in that, but I'm not gonna get one without a heart rate monitor. So I'm hoping that like the Fitbit technology will get wrapped into like an Android watch or Wear OS more broadly. That'd be amazing. I don't think that it would get brought in that broadly, but like if I could get a Samsung watch that let me like connect to Fitbit, or at least socially for like the step counting, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Stevie76, I think my iPhone died because it's been drenched in sweat all this summer. It was a sweaty summer for a little while there, wasn't it? Oh, it's funny. Sean Marshall says craft. We're talking like mac and cheese now. Yeah, we haven't talked any about food at all today. And I am drinking just water. I had 2 big cups of coffee like at 2 o'clock. So I was like, oh, I had enough caffeine. I can't have any of the noon with caffeine in it. Daniel M says, Kofuzi, I guess we're still at least a month away from an updated winter essentials vid. Yeah, I'm going to do the fall essentials video. I still got to kind of do that. That's going to be a little hard because I don't have most of my stuff here with me. But yeah, it'll be about a month, probably. Maybe a little bit more than a month for the winter essentials. Because I want to do that a little bit earlier this year. So that way, people can get it for before it gets cold. The only hard part is then like running in that stuff when it's still warm out is really uncomfortable. And so I kind of need to wait for the temperatures to dip just a little bit. Sean Marshall says, I had some Cheez-Its when I got home from school, was needing the salt. They are nicely salty. I think cheese is, I always think of cheese as like a great recovery food because I'm like, it's got sugar in it, it's got salt, it's got some protein, like it's got some fats. Like I'm like, oh, it's like a perfect recovery food, isn't it? I know it's not, but I like to think that it is. JC says I have a Kraft massage gun. Is that the same company? I don't. Does Kraft make massage guns? I didn't know that. F. The username is just F. F says Brooks Hyperion Elite 2 or Saucony Endorphin Speeds. That's a good question. Those are probably my 2 favorite shoes for marathon racers this year. I I don't know. I have to run in the Hyperion Elite 2 again. I only ran them that one time. They were super fun to run in. I think that the speed is going to be a little bit more versatile. And I think it's going to appeal to a broader range of people. So that's my kind of initial impression of it. But I think Hyperion Elite may be the stronger performer of the two. For me, anyway, in the way I run. Philip Bourne says, have to admit, listening to Kofuzi before going to bed has something seriously relaxing to it. And then a smiley with like a sweat drop emoji. I don't know what to describe that one. But that's awesome, Philip. Thanks. I've been told very many times that I'm so boring that I could put people literally to sleep. I know that's not what you're saying, but that's how I like to read that one. Yeah, Christian says, my first running/sports watch was one that Dean Karnazes promoted back in the day, the Moto Active. Whoa, cool. Very cool. J. Mike Remy says, Fitbit is like Peloton. For people who don't see themselves as hardcore, but kind of interested in fitness, good marketing, short on features. Well, that's interesting. It's an interesting way to think of it. I didn't think of Peloton that way. Is that how most people think of Peloton? I guess, Remy would know. Like, do people that, like, cycle a lot, what did they think about Peloton? Like, so what do all the other triathletes and cycling racers think about Peloton? Are they just like, whatever, that's good for someone else, but not me? I don't know. And Sean Marshall says, yeah. He says, yeah, J. Mike Remy, it actually has the things I need, but in an extremely convoluted and difficult to navigate interface. That's an interesting take on it. Stevie76 says, I find it hilarious on the same day I finish a marathon, my Garmin prompts me to get up and walk. I mean, maybe it's trying to help you with some active recovery, though, Stevie76. Maybe. Let's see. JP says, I have Fitbit Iconic because I do boot camps and Beachbody programs and just started running. I don't like it and I'm irritated by the competitions. Oh, well. Oh, okay. That's interesting. So you must be looking for something else, though, then. Or is the Fitbit Iconic good for boot camps and Beachbody programs? My running buddy had one. It was a rectangular one, so it wasn't the one that's square-faced. But he had a rectangular one. I don't know if it had GPS or not. He didn't care because he always has his phone with him when he runs anyway. But he liked it enough. And he was like, why should I get a different one? And I'm like, well, I mean, I like to pair all these other sensors to it. And he's like, but I don't want to use those sensors. And I'm like, I know you don't. So that's why I've never told you to get a different one. It's like, I think it really works well for you. But then sometimes, because he's using the iPhone GPS for it, I think. And then I think he might have gotten another one that had its own GPS. I'm not sure. But when he was using the one that had its own iPhone GPS, he's like, whenever we ran together, he's like, I'm going to go with whatever your GPS says or what your distance says. Because mine always gets weird whenever I get close to downtown. I'm like, that's because it's bouncing off the phone. It's getting the data from the phone, and the phone freaks out GPS-wise. So, but he's like such a brand. He's the same. That's the same guy that once he realized he likes the Brooks 11, Ghost 11, he bought a whole bunch of them. I think he might still be running the Brooks Ghost 11, and I've tried to tell him like. Brooks like never changes the Ghost. It's pretty much the same shoe every single year. And he's like, I don't know, I like this one, so I'm going to keep buying the Ghost 11. So that's him. Omar Salgado says, I gave my kids Fitbit for family step competition. They are 8 and 11. We do step check every evening. Great. That sounds awesome. See, I like that. I like that idea a lot. But I guess with the Apple and the family, whatever, the Apple Watch, the family stuff, if you can apply the family account to the Apple Watch 3 for $199, that's still a lot more than the Fitbit. Because I've bought all of like the younger, like my kids and then their cousins. I think we've bought each of them one of the Fitbit Juniors. Like there's like a blue one and a green one. One looks like a dinosaur, and I forget like the other one the wristband looks like. And Some of them multiple times because they keep losing them. But I think those are only like in the $60 range. So that's a cheaper way to get into doing that. But then I can't like, I guess, text them when there should be like probably not looking at texts. But I don't know. Maybe we have an unhealthy relationship where I just constantly feel like I need to be pestering them. I have taken a very different approach to like helicopter parenting. It's not so much a helicopter parenting like I want them to do the right thing or the better thing or perform. I just want to like bother them. Jay Campo says, opinion on Jim Walmsley's Hard Rock 100 solo attempt. I am not familiar with that, so I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know what the Hard Rock 100 solo attempt would be. I mean, I'm aware of what Hard Rock 100 is, but I don't know very much about ultra marathons, really. Martha, talking about cheese and helping me out a little bit, says, yes, Mike, actually, dairy has the ideal balance of carbs and protein for recovery, which is why I mentioned I go for yogurt and kefir after a workout. Well, that's all I needed to know, Martha. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm going to go for some more cheese. I just really enjoy cheese. I think that's part of the reason why I love Wallace and Gromit so much, because like all the episodes revolve around cheese. And as an American, the fact that they have like a cheese cupboard or a cheese drawer, like blew my mind. And I'm like, you don't keep that in the fridge? That's where all the cheese goes in the fridge. What do you mean you keep it at room temperature? I don't understand. I didn't understand that. But I love Wallace and Gromit. I don't know who I relate more to now. When I was younger, I think I related more to Gromit, but these days, I think I probably am more of a Wallace. All right. I think on that note, I'm going to have to end it for today. We're at 3:52. Thanks, everybody, so much for hanging out. I had a great time. Hopefully, the air quality is improving or continues to improve wherever you guys are, and you can get out there again. And if it's still not improving, hunker down for just a little bit more. It'll be over soon, I hope. Tomorrow's video, I have a couple ideas what tomorrow's video is going to be about, but I'm still not sure yet. But we'll do a happy hour live stream tomorrow because tomorrow's Thursday. So looking forward to that. In the meantime, hope you guys stay safe out there. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everyone.